right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jason Flame. Welcome to the Master Motivation Podcast. Super excited to be back. It's been a couple weeks off, but I've got a great guest again today, and let me introduce you. This is Jacquelyn Syndergaard. She is a local nonprofit leader serving as program director of the Ronald McDonald Family Room at Ventura County Medical Center. She also serves on the board of directors for the Rotary Club of Ventura East, a third-generation Ventura County resident, born and raised in the community she loves. Jacquelyn is a passionate about giving back and strengthening the place she calls home. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for being patient, and I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Jason. I'm so happy to be here.
So, just as a quick little intro as to how we met, we were both members of Ventura County Leadership Academy Cohort 31, getting it done, right? And I bet you, I know that we have a couple people viewing already. I bet you that one of those viewers is Sandra Jennings. So let's see if she chimes in and sends us some comments and questions. But guys, this is an interactive video and interview. So if you have questions above and beyond the questions that I'm going to ask Jacquelyn, please drop those comments below. And also like, comment, share this video all day long. Go over to Master Motivation Podcast and subscribe on YouTube. So Jacquelyn, tell me what's going on in your life and tell me a little bit more about yourself that maybe I didn't give in that introduction.
Yeah, so I realized in my introduction, I didn't even mention my 1-year-old or my fur baby. We were talking about our dogs earlier. So I'm also proud to carry the title of mom. So between that, volunteering my time with Rotary and the Ronald McDonald Room, my schedule's pretty full and I love it.
That's awesome. Any big projects, right now, anything currently working on that's super exciting, and we may expand on it a little bit later.
Yeah, we're gearing up. We have one fundraiser every year in September. It's our Walk for Kids. We walk from the State Beach Park, kind of near Jolly Oyster, down to the pier and back, and we just have a really fun day celebrating all the work we've done all year long. Last year, we raised $106,000, which was just so amazing. And so I'm really looking forward to this year. And I hope everyone comes, bring their kids, have fun with us.
Well, I am looking forward to hearing more about that and more about the Ronald McDonald House. But let's talk about being a third generation Ventura County resident. What are some of your favorite memories growing up here, and how has the community shaped who you are today?
Yeah, so I grew up in Camarillo, and I always felt it was just so central to the county. I went to private school. I was very fortunate. My mom was an administrator there, so my brother and I got to attend. So my network at the time was through school, but also, as you found out, at VCLA in Sacramento. I figure skated for 10 years. So I was at the rink in Simi Valley, also at the rink in Oxnard. She's not there anymore. She is now some beautiful apartments, but that was so much fun. So I really feel like I got to know the county in such a diversified way, between Simi, Oxnard, Ventura, Camarillo. My private school closed after my junior year of high school. So I went 1 year to Newberry Park High School. So I got to know that area. And I think it just really made me appreciate our community, beach to mountains and Thousand Oaks, right? We really
Mhm.
have it all here. And the people are just so amazing.
Yes, we do. Well, there's a lot there to dive into and unpack. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to Sacramento. I don't know if you remember. I
I
actually
do
had a
remember now,
yeah, I had a
actually.
situation where I couldn't
Yeah.
attend. But I've heard a lot about I've heard a lot about the trip and the event. I'm hoping to go back when my wife gets into the next cohort. So that'll be fun
Oh,
to
so fun.
do that with her.
Yes.
But I did not know that you went to Newberry Park High School because I am class of 92 from
Oh,
Newberry Park High School.
nice.
I grew up in Newberry Park, lived there almost my entire life. In my entire childhood life. I always say that
Yes,
because,
right?
I'm 52. I'll be 52 this year. I lived in Newberry Park, all through grade school, high school, but I actually moved to Moore Park when I was about 20, 19, 20, and I've actually lived here now longer than I lived
That's
in
so
Newberry Park, but I
funny.
still feel like Newberry Park is my hometown, but I think Moore Park has officially taken over. But ice skating, we got the Isoplex here in Simi
Yeah.
Valley, nearby. A lot of our students play hockey, and I had a friend, someone actually who graduated from Thousand Oaks High School, who was a really amazing figure skater who unfortunately passed away. I don't know if you knew her,
Mm.
Tisha Walker. Um,
Oh, okay.
and so yeah, but and just
Mm.
we've done a lot of field trips over with the karate school over at the Isoplex, so lots of stuff there, very cool. And you're right, from the beach to the mountains and to the snow and to Disneyland and to Dodger Stadium. Everybody asks me, why do you still live in California? And I'm like, have you been here for more than a day or two? I mean, it's a little warmish right now, but the weather and being so close to everything is amazing. But for those who may not be familiar, tell us more about the Ronald McDonald Family Room at Ventura County Medical Center and the impact it has on families during difficult times.
Yeah, so we're part of a global organization. We have programs in over 600 countries, or I'm sorry, over 45 countries and over 600 programs. So we're really lucky to have one here in Ventura County. So we are within Ventura County Medical Center, which for those that don't know, we have the only pediatric unit in the county right now for inpatient in the hospital. Additionally, we have our cancer clinic next door. And so we are there to take care of the families. When a patient, especially a kid, is ill, it affects the whole family, it affects mom, dad, brother, sister. Oftentimes, there's grandparents as caretakers. So we have just under 2,500 square feet within the hospital, just steps away from the pediatrics unit. And we have 3 sleep pods, kitchenette, free laundry, play space, living room area, workspaces. But really, beyond sort of all these amenities, for lack of a better word, it's really just the feeling that our families get when they walk through the door. It's so stressful. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital when I had my baby last year, and the volunteers are just so passionate. And when the families step in the room, they just felt so cared for. Like they don't even have to think. They just all of a sudden have food in front of them and someone's there to talk to them or give them a hug. So that's what we're really doing at Ventura County Medical Center. And it's really impactful because a lot of our families have come back. They celebrate our birthday with us every year. We've been open for just over 3 years now. I've had volunteers that have been with us since day one. So it's just a really special place.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, UCLA in Westwood also has a Ronald
Yes,
McDonald
that
House. Yes.
is our newest. So we're a part of the 501(c) here in Southern California. We have 7 houses, 3 family rooms, which is our module. And then we also have Camp Ronald McDonald for Good Times. So we work really collaboratively. And our West LA house is our newest house. It's so exciting. It's half open right now, and they're doing tons of fundraising to get the other half open, and they're partnered with UCLA.
Yeah, and the reason I know that, in case you weren't aware, my wife spent a lot of time at UCLA in 2024, and I would always kind of like pass by and it was for my wife, it wasn't for our child, and we had
Mhm.
everything we needed where we were. But what an amazing program! Someone on YouTube is watching Cambria, I believe. Are there ways that we, the community, can help?
Yeah, so we're always looking for volunteers. As I said, our volunteers are the ones that are hands on there day to day with our families so that I can do things like this. So, always looking for in hospital volunteers. And of course, you can donate. We don't just take financial donations, we're always looking for things like snacks for our families, blankets for comfort, stuffed animals, coloring books. And then just spread the word. Really, as I said, we've been here 3.5 years, and so it's still new to the county, and so people are still learning about it. So if you know of anyone that can, benefit from our services, feel free to share. Additionally, if we can connect you with any of those other programs I mentioned in Southern California, also share. We have a lot of connections at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and so we send a lot of patients over there and connect them with our LA house.
So tell me, how did you get involved? Like, where was this the start of your career, or maybe let's back up a little bit, talk about how uh, some of the opportunities in your life has led to this career.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I moved to Bakersfield for cheaper rent in 2019, right before the pandemic. I was doing admin assistant work really my whole life up until that point. And I had a best friend, and she was just kind of too far along in a wine bar. And so I opened it with her, worked her with her there for about 2 years. And in that time, we had a regular that would come in, and she was the Bakersfield House Executive Director, but to us, she was just kind of our crazy Aunt Scarlet. And so she's been such a mentor to me. And when she found out I moved home to Ventura, she really recruited me hard for the job, and I will never be able to thank her enough. It took me about a month to give her my resume. I was just so comfortable where I was at the time. When I moved home from Bakersfield, I was managing ophthalmology clinics. They have clinics from Slow up to Beverly Hills, and so I was comfortable, but I finally, my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time. He convinced me to take the job, and I've been loving it ever since. And it's just been such an amazing opportunity to give back to my community.
And how many times in life do people meet their Aunt Scarlet who, creates this life-changing, changes the whole trajectory of your life and what you're doing. But did you say that you owned a wine room? Was it a wine room or a
So
vineyard?
it's my best, dearest friend. She owned a wine bar.
Okay.
She opened it during the pandemic, unheard of, but we turned a profit in the first year. We had a huge outdoor space, live events, alcohol on the menu, of course, as well as food. And so we did amazing. And she was actually able, after 5 years in business, she sold that business, and now she's traveling the country in her van with her dog. So
Wow.
another amazing mentor of mine, and I think she helped me recognize my strengths, and that's attributed to my career now.
hmm Wow. Cool story.
Yeah.
Tell me, Ronald McDonald. How does Ronald McDonald tie in with the
I'm
organization?
so I'm so glad you've asked this, because it truly is, it can be a common misconception, which can be difficult for us in the fundraising scope. So back in 1974, Philadelphia Eagles player Fred Hill, he had a daughter, Kim, and she had leukemia. And so his vision was just a home away from home for people that were, having children with cancer treatment. And so he partnered with the Philadelphia McDonald's owner operators, and the Shamrock Shake Sales that year bought the very first Ronald McDonald House. And it was what you envision a normal house, 4 to 5 bedrooms. Um, Flash forward, as I said, over 45 countries and over 600 programs within those countries. Now, our McDonald's, they support us through their Roundup initiative. So when you go to the store, you round up your change, that comes back to our programs. That makes up, a small portion of our budget. Certainly not the whole thing, but here in Ventura County, it makes up about $15,000 to $20,000 annually. Additionally, 2.5 cents from every Happy Meal and 25 cents from every Shamrock Shake sale comes back to us. And then beyond that, the local owner operators support. So we had amazing owner operators, the Passion family, Clay and June. They own for over 60 years, the majority of the county stores. And then just a couple years ago in 2025, he sold to the Marroquin family, and they own 43 stores in Southern
Wow.
California. But that family has been supportive. They've really embedded themselves into this community. They're supporting us. They're supporting friend of field workers. So that's kind of how it ties in. And we've just always held the name, and it works.
So Shamrock Shakes actually have a good purpose. I say that
Believe it or not, they do.
because I say that because if you've ever looked at the sugar content in a Shamrock Shake, coming from the fitness and health world, we compare
Yes.
Shamrock Shakes to but listen, uh it's good that that helps, and that's a thank you for sharing that story and how it ties in, because I'm sure a lot of people see it and they're like, okay, Ronald McDonald, like,
Hmm.
and first of all, people get a little weirded out these days by Ronald McDonald, because if you see some of the memes that they do with McDonald's, a little bit interesting. Hey, I just want to remind everybody, if you are watching live and you have a question or even just a comment, a little story, maybe you want to poke, tease Jacquelyn a little bit about something about her, drop those comments, please. Would love to hear who's watching. So We talked a little bit about what inspired you to pursue this career in nonprofit leadership and community service, but tell me a little bit more. So Aunt Scarlett, came after you and tried to get you in here, and then mentored you, and now you're in this position. But what truly inspires you every day to continue doing what you do?
I think first off, our families, the family stories that I hear every day are just amazing. Not only, as I mentioned, the volunteers are there for them, but the families are there for each other. So sometimes I just sit back and I watch, and it's a really healing moment, not just for them, but for us witnessing it. And then beyond that, I opened this program. I helped open it in 2022, and so I've really seen it from start till now. And so to see it's been a slow progression, but the progression that we have had, it drives me to just keep moving forward, and keeping that pendulum swinging. I'm so excited. We've been able to grow. We've expanded our hours. We've expanded our staff, and we're looking forward to expanding our services in a way that makes sense for our hospital partner.
So tell me what it looked like in the beginning when you were part of, opening this house and getting things going in the beginning. What were some of the struggles and challenges, and now, like, looking back, what are some of the greatest successes that you've had?
I think some of the biggest challenges, right, is the question you asked about McDonald's. People often think we're fully funded through McDonald's or that we're a part of a global organization. And so our funds come from the top down, but each
Hmm.
local program has their own budget. So we are in charge of raising our own funds. So I think in the beginning, that education piece for the community, even as a born and raised third generation, it took some time for me to build relationships with our donors and to get them to trust me, to trust us, the organization. And that was a challenge. Also, operationally, within the hospital, our nursing staff, our doctor staff are very protective of their patients, as they should be. And so, in the beginning, again, building that relationship and that trust. And now we walk in, and the staff rely on us just as much as our families do for that morale piece. And so it's been equally challenging but equally rewarding.
And isn't that the same across many industries, whether you're a local nonprofit or you're a small business?
Mhm.
Relationships, trust, and building rapport is everything, right? Because if people don't trust you, they don't want to work with you. They don't want to buy from you. So that earning that trust, what do you think are some of the I don't want to say the easiest and quickest ways, but maybe that's the only way I can ask it. But what are some of the things that help build trust and build that rapport, um, sooner than later?
I think just being genuine. I mean, I really take time to, if I'm if there's someone on my list that I know I need to build that relationship with, I'll take the time to sit with them, have coffee, hear their story, see if there's any way we can collaborate, if I can help them. Um Beyond that, just transparency. I mean, we are, governed by a board of trustees, so, I really count on them to help guide and direct me. And if I have questions or if I don't know something or I need advice, I go to them. And I think admitting in the community, especially when I first started, I had so many questions coming my way that I just don't know. So
Yeah.
give me some time and I'll get back to you. And then beyond that, just staying true to your word, not so many, everyone has such full schedules these days. And so committing to time spent with that person, and not changing that is really important as well.
Yeah. And this is one of the things that I think most of us, when we look back at our VCLA experience, what was one of the great, I think we all went into VCLA with the idea of, I want to learn more about the county. I want to learn more about the infrastructure. I want to learn, things outside my box. But, one of the most common things that I've heard come from everybody coming out of the program was the relationships they built, the friendships and the memories we made, and just learning learning more about each other and building that trust and relationship over time. And as we speak and get ready, we talked about, you did some interviews the other day. I've got interviews today, but also later this afternoon, our cohort is hosting a kind of a part two of our cohort to continue those relationships. What kinds of things do you do with the Ronald McDonald House that kind of, I hope that people don't keep coming back, right? Because we want to make sure we take
Yes.
care of them and send them on their way, and God bless them and keep them safe and healthy. But what do we do to like continue to further relationships, and maybe not just with the clients and the patients, but with our community partners, people that you're working with to help support you? What can you do to continue to further that?
Yeah, so with our community partners, I think first and foremost of our hospital partner, right, DCMC, I am not only meeting with admin on a weekly basis, I'm meeting with the day-to-day staff, our child life specialists, our nursing staff. So just continuing to build on that relationship, investing in them and listening to what the true needs are of our families because they are our frontline workers. Beyond that, our volunteers, as I said, we've had a lot of them stay here since day one, and some of them have become not just lifelong friends for me, but lifelong friends for each other. And that's just been so beautiful. And I've taken time to really, we have a lot of volunteers. It takes about 30 volunteers to manage the program on a day to day. And so to get 30 different voices, and you want to make sure each and every one is heard. And that has really helped build the strong program because I took into account the people that were working the day to day, the people that were face to face with our families and our patients. And then outwardly, it's again, it really is just showing up. We have so many amazing nonprofits in our county, and there's so many of them that are collaborating. We collaborate with Food Share, we collaborate with Sunny Horses for Kids.
Mhm.
Um, Even collaborating with like our community colleges, Moore Park, Ventura, Oxnard, we get a wealth of volunteers from them, students that will go on to put this on their resume or ask me for a letter of recommendation. So, and these are all just different avenues I've shown you. And beyond that, there's even more avenues if we get creative and put our heads together and collaborate.
And so, as you're saying, it's not just the relationships, within the patients, but the doctors, the nurses, the volunteers, the community partners. I mean, there's this whole, web of people that are interconnected, and that's how we get stuff done, right? I mean, that's just how
Hmm.
we make it happen. We got some questions from the audience, so I want to get to those real quick. Cambria jumped in again and asked, and I'm not sure if it's for me or for you or for both. But have you yourself ever benefited from the Ronald McDonald House? What's the Ronald McDonald House services offer? I have not personally, although my wife was at UCLA and battled leukemia for 2024 and beat it. And we had amazing care at the hospital, and I know the impact that the nursing staff, the doctors, and everybody working within that group, even a volunteer that came in to bring us, she was able to have communion in the hospital, which was very powerful for us. But how about for you, Jacqueline? Have you ever benefited from what the Ronald McDonald House services offer?
Yeah, so I was actually in the hospital 2 weeks prior to giving birth, and so I was unexpectedly there. So using the laundry services for myself to wash my same 2 pairs of leggings over and over, and just having a space to step outside of the, like, beeping and the dark and all of that, the cords, having a space, we have these beautiful, almost ceiling to floor windows, and so having that sunlight, that vitamin D, music, it's very healing and peaceful and relaxing, but so many times in our community, I come across people that, have been benefited by our services, whether it be our Ventura location or another location. And that's been really special.
Yeah, definitely. And you almost brought back some trauma there for me. The beeping,
I
the
know.
beeping in the room was like sometimes unbearable. You just want to get out of there.
Mhm.
Brad is watching. Thank you, Brad. And he actually asked a question similar to what I was going to ask next. But working with families who are experiencing traumatic events, what have you learned from what have you learned from them about resilience that has changed the way you approach your own challenge? Thank you, Brad.
I think, these families, the parents especially, maybe not so much the siblings unless they're older, which we do. People often forget we have teens and pediatrics, but these families, they don't have a choice but to get through it. The majority of our families leave, which is amazing. They go home, they're healthy, but they they have no choice. The only way out is through. And so if we can come alongside and go through it with you, it's rewarding to us. But it can be difficult. We see some hard things, but I think the good outweighs the bad. And additionally, we're lucky our medical staff, our nurses, we also really take care of them and they help take care of us. So if they need something from us, they call and they word it in such a way. And, our volunteers go through grief and loss training. And so we're prepared. But, it's really the resilience of the families. It's it's amazing to see how when they're going through their hardest time, they can be there for each other, whether that be within their nuclear family or when we have one, two, three families in our family room at once and they're all there together, being there for each other. And I think that's taught me like, you know, we have no choice but to be going, to continue through this and to keep going because these families deserve to have someone there for them to lighten their load.
Yeah. You mentioned that quote, "The only way out is through." I can't tell you how many times my wife and I would repeat that over and over and over on some of the hardest days. And that talking about resilience and watching someone go through this. But on the other side, I didn't realize until a little bit later because once when we were in it, it just every day it's literally survival mode of how we're going to get
Mhm.
to the next day, how we're just going to get past this one little hump. And I just thought it's just there's no choice. Like you're not going to
Yeah.
give up. And everybody at the hospital is doing everything they can. Volunteers do what they do to make it more comfortable, make it a better experience if you can. And yeah, that resilience, but I didn't really fully understand until like coming out, like,
Mhm.
whoa, like
Yeah.
that was a beast, and people that have not experienced it in their own families or they just haven't seen it firsthand. Um, everybody sends love and prayers, and everybody is
Mhm.
thinking about you, um, but you just really don't know until you've kind of been in it. And wow, the resilience that I watched my wife have is just completely and totally amazing. And
Yeah.
and to watch, we have I've had several of my students go through their own battles, and I currently have the brother of one of our black belts battling right now, and
Mhm.
just to watch mom and dad post, and how strong they have to be to help him to be strong, and but like you said, sometimes in hard situations that goodness that comes out of it is that resilience
Mhm.
for the rest of their life. I mean, in any situation, if you can battle and beat cancer, like what else is going to stand in your way, that you can't get through and that you haven't already been through with the support of your
Mhm.
family, friends, and people that love you. So, yeah, thank you for that question, Brad. Love talking about that. And you want to add to that, Jacqueline?
No, I was just gonna say, on a personal note, it's funny. So we opened in September of 2022, and I want to say early 2023, I presented to Moore Park Rotary, and so I have a picture of Jackie and I zoomed in before this, and I was like, oh, there's Jason's ball head. He was there too. I met him all these years ago. So I just want to say personally, it is. I mean, maybe watching from afar, and as someone that met Jackie once, way well, years ago now. It's beautiful to see you guys come out on the other end and just such a fantastic couple of leaders in your community, truly. So I'm glad that you guys were able to get through that. And I feel it strengthens your bond, even, I'm sure. at the end of the day as well.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I'm a true believer that, uh, God doesn't put things in our life that we can't overcome and beat, right? And
Hmm.
but also there's a reason, and I know for a fact, and I don't want to go too far on a tangent, but I know for a fact that this happened for us and not to us.
Mm,
And I can't tell you the number of people, within the American Cancer Society. Jackie just presented at Blood Cancer United, or she was on stage, and just the inspiration that she's become, and I can't be more
mhm.
proud of her for that. So yeah, there's a lot to that. But let's get back to more about Jacquelyn Syndergaard, not Jacqueline Flame. Um, Many people want to help out, but don't always know where to start. What are some ways community members can support local nonprofits and make a difference?
Yeah, so I always say you can donate to the local nonprofits in three ways. Number one being time. Everyone needs volunteerism. Our volunteers are structured further than most, being that we're in the hospital alongside very vulnerable patients. But all of the local nonprofits could use some extra hands. Of course, you can donate money. That's always helpful. But additionally, so many nonprofits need like in kind donations. I know Food Share is always looking for canned food. We're always looking for coloring books, toys. Um, and then beyond that, just be an advocate. I'm so lucky that this community has supported because there has been just so many creative ideas that I may not think of. We had Girl Scouts come in and do friendship bracelet kits. We had pet therapy come in with Love on a Leash. We have a sorority out at UCSB that writes letters to our families every holiday season. So you just, if you have something that you're passionate about or something that you're strong in, use that strength and find a way to plug it into whatever nonprofit you may be passionate about.
Well, we always talk about everybody has, either time, talent, or treasure. And
Yes.
most people think that the only way to help out is treasure, right? I've got to donate, I've got to give money. And
Mm-mm.
you know, uh, living in California for some there's not as much disposable income that we can just donate, right?
Mhm.
Um, and time, sometimes we're so busy working and so busy with our family, but sometimes we have these talents, these untapped talents that we can contribute. And I want to just, again, I didn't get to be a part of the project on the day of, but cohort
Mm.
31 did an amazing job of pooling talent and being able to spend time with the seniors in the senior skip day.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit, about what some of the people did that day, just as an example, and maybe just kind of explain that project to people that
Yeah.
aren't familiar?
Yeah, so we hosted a skip day for about 100 seniors and their caregivers. We had, stations set up, photo booth, IT help, financial literacy, magic show. And when we pulled everyone, it was kind of like, I have this, there's Mark, I have pineapples randomly, or, someone can host chair yoga, or Sandra had a connection to a magician, which is random and amazing. So we kind of just pulled together everything that we could, all of our contacts to make this beautiful day. And then beyond that, again, talent is a huge piece. I could not have coordinated such a fantastic event, but I was happy to help with setup and decor and that piece. Um, and then to see community members support, we had some amazing sponsors. I know some healthcare people sponsored. Marie Callender's donated like 200 box lunches. And then at the end of the day, it was just beautiful to see these seniors come out because, you know, they can be a forgotten about demographic. And a lot of them are just stuck at home and aren't maybe capable to come out as often. So it was beautiful to get them all together. And we had actually one of them say to us that she hadn't left her apartment in 2 weeks. And this is the first time. And she just had such a wonderful day and was able to find a friend that she made plans with to then further meet up with, and go on a walk. So it was awesome. It was awesome to see. And, if we could do this, what can we do going forward? Which is the
Mhm.
purpose of our meeting later this afternoon.
Right, right, right. And so again, back to the question of, what can people do to help? I mean, everybody thinks that it has to be, I won't say everybody, but most times people won't volunteer or won't participate because they think that it's going to be too much, and I love to think that, when we can just get everybody to do a little, we can all accomplish a lot, right? And that's maybe
Yes,
misquoted,
many hands make light work. I can't
right?
tell you, sometimes I have to like find things to keep the volunteers busy when we have like volunteer groups because they get stuff.
Yeah. And so, again, it just goes back to, do you have time, talent, treasure? What can you contribute? And what are you able to do? Every small piece. And there's so many different groups. We've already talked a little bit about, Rotary clubs. You've got Kiwanis clubs. You've got, Food Share, and here in Moore Park we have Catholic Charities, Reuben Castro Charities. There's all kinds of local nonprofits that I think if you just, tap in and start to ask around a little bit, you'll find a place, because there's someone that needs something somewhere, and you need to find out what you're passionate about. I mean, even you talked the Sunny for Kids, the horses, right? And so I think they were looking for volunteers even today, and so there's always opportunities out there. Now, Mark is watching. Mark Denham is on here. Thanks, Mark. He says, "What do you anticipate as your biggest obstacle? What is your biggest obstacle being, and how do we as a team, cohort 31, help you overcome it?" Jacqueline, Jacqueline, I think you might be muted. Check your microphone real quick. Nope, it popped off. That's all right. Maybe your did your earbuds, did they die or disconnect? Sometimes that happens. I know we had that. Was it with Rachel? Rachel, her her AirPods died. Take your time. See if you can maybe log off and log back on, and then hopefully, Mark, we will be able to answer that question here. Give me 1 second. We're gonna boom kick that one
There we go.
out,
Maybe you can
and
hear me
we're
now.
and we're back, and we're back. We figured it out. It's sometimes live interviews
You never
always have.
know.
So let me ask that again. What do you anticipate your biggest obstacle being, and how do we, as a team, cohort 31, help you overcome it? Thank you, Mark.
Yes, I think, of course, obstacles being we always need more volunteers in the hospital. That's our biggest obstacle currently. But a deeper, long lasting obstacle that we really have is a lot of our families are Spanish speaking and Mixteco. So getting the proper volunteers in there can be difficult. Our volunteers are predominantly retired white women, which is fantastic that they're giving their time, but it can be hard for those families to create a deeper connection. So
Mm,
we've been trying to look at students, and of course, we have translating systems, but when you have someone that speaks your native language, you just connect that much deeper. So I think long term, that's a challenge that we have been facing and will continue to face.
okay. Mark, thanks for your question, and thanks for the pineapples.
Yes.
And again, anybody else who is watching live, I know my wife just popped on and commented and said, again, thank you for making a difference. Mark says, amazing work to you, Jacqueline. So thank you guys for your comments. Thank you to Cambria and Brad who are watching. We still got plenty of time, so if you have questions, drop those in the comments. So you serve on the board of directors for the Rotary Club of Ventura East. What drew you to Rotary, and what has that experience meant to you personally?
Yeah, so I always was a member in school, of high school, college, of service clubs. Somehow I had never heard of Rotary before. And then when I started my position, they were huge supporters. The Rotaries all throughout the county were just so supportive of this, initiative and bringing it to life. And so I sort of just joined the first Rotary club that asked. And it
Mhm.
ended up being the most perfect fit. I'm in the smallest club in Ventura, Ventura East. We're about 20 members. And It's been really special. I've created long lasting friendships and relationships. But beyond that, I'm able to give back to my community in a different way. Of course, I love my job and what I do, but it is my job. And so it's so nice to be able to spend time with them. We have initiatives going to the soup kitchen on the avenue in Ventura once a quarter, and that's been a way that I like to give back. I love doing our scholarships. That's my favorite thing to do. My mom was an educator. My grandma was the registrar at Moore Park College for like 40 years plus. So, education has always been important to me. So, it's really exciting to be able to have Rotary as an avenue to give back in the other ways that I may be passionate about. And it's just that they have seven different pillars that they focus on, and within those pillars, you can find, a project that you're passionate about.
Yeah. Well, and what I think is really great, and probably for you specifically, is that Rotary Club seems to focus, right in your immediate local community,
Mhm.
whereas the Ronald McDonald House, you're serving
All
a
of the
much
county,
broader
yeah.
audience. And yeah, it's pretty neat to be able to be uh, deeply involved in your local community. There's so many great things that come from it, the personal satisfaction, but also on the other side is watching the people that you impact and the things that you're involved in. Like you mentioned, the scholarships. Our Rotary Club also provided scholarships. We just had our Moore Park High School Senior Awards Night, and how powerful is that? I read something someone had posted about the awards and the scholarships, and that it's not necessarily even the money or the amount of money that we're giving as scholarships. It's just the actual recognition or the hope and
Mhm.
the inspiration that it gives a student to feel good and confident about something they've done,
Mhm.
and now they get to take that into their college career or into their next steps in life. So yeah, Rotary definitely has. And I was hesitant to get into Rotary. I was invited very early on by Daniel Groff, a very good friend of
Mhm.
mine and a mentor that has taught me so much. And he is a very strong community supporter. But I was so worried, like everybody else, that it's going to take up all my time and I don't have enough time, and or it's going to cost a lot, or whatever. And then so I kind of like hesitated for a bit, and then Chris Barrett, I'm sure you probably know Chris, everybody knows Chris.
Mhm.
Chris Barrett, he kind of twists one arm and then he twists the other arm, and before you know it, you're just doing what he wants you to do. And but I will say that joining Rotary has been one of the greatest things, and for all the reasons that you
Mhm.
mentioned. We get to serve at the Lord's table. That's our soup kitchen. That's where we're
Mhm.
able to serve. We Holiday on High Street is a huge, banner event here in
Yes.
Moore Park, and all the thing, the scholarships, and the members that we
Mhm.
have within our club. I would say our club is slightly larger than 20. I don't know how many to be exact, but it still feels like a nice
Yes.
tight knit group. But uh, we got Dan Birchfield, who has his Joel Birchfield Spirit Walk coming up, and other people that are doing things in the schools. Mara Rodriguez at Moore Park
Mhm.
College, and the Teaching Zoo, and just these connections that we make, and then we could tap into. It's like endless. It's like literally going down a
Yes.
rabbit hole. Once you get in, you're like, whoa, like you could just keep going. But I mean, it's a great way to serve the community. It's a great way to serve others,
Yes.
and it's a great way, you know, different than how I said, it's going to take up all your time. It's a way to really invest your time and spend your time in a very
Yes.
meaningful way. What do you think has been like the most powerful thing for you being a member of Rotary? What's something like really big that you've been a part of?
Definitely scholarships. I know I already mentioned that, but that's been really what I've been passionate about. It's so cool because we have, applicants that I've now see year after year. I saw them get their middle school scholarship and then their high school scholarship. And then we have nursing scholarships. And to hear all those stories is just amazing. And these are things that kids are putting on their, college applications and
Yeah.
resumes. I don't take that lightly. I mean, it's really, for me, it's just so full circle because I relied on some of these things back in the day. And so to now see that, oh, I'm kind of the one now in the club and helping these students through our Interact Club over at Buena. And so that's really been rewarding for me. And then beyond that, I think our four-way test, is it fair? Is it true? I had a friend, Jeff, and I have it in my purse actually, his Rotary coin. And so he would hold on to that coin every day to make a decision. And so I've lived with that in my mind ever since he gave me my coin. So,
Oh, sorry, I muted myself because I have my gardener in the back. It's funny that you bring up the four-way test because I often look on Facebook and I'm reading and I ask myself, is that the truth?
yes.
Is that fair to everyone involved? I do use that quite a bit, and I don't know why. Maybe is my wife yelling at me? Did I say someone's name wrong? Chris Barrett.
My
Hopefully I
four-way
didn't say his
test
name wrong.
coin.
Yeah, there's the four-way test. There's a four-way coin. Yeah, Chris Barrett, that guy, get you to do anything. But yeah, giving back to the community. What's your involvement with the Interact Club? What do you get to do? Because I don't have a lot of interaction with our Interact Club. I know that we have one, but it's kind of like in our club. I feel like it's kind of a side thing. Um,
Yeah, so they choose a different project each year to work on and to focus on. And so I'm not the main advisor by any means, but I do love working with them. And they aside from their big project they do each year, they do little initiatives as well. And so just bridging that gap between, you know, as I said before, right? I was in service clubs in middle school, high school, never heard of Rotary. So it's cool that now they're on a fast track into Rotary. If they're
mhm.
interested in service and it may be lifelong, it's great to keep them kind of in the Rotary sec.
So what got you into service clubs? Like if when you started that early, like was this something that your parents did where they were community
Mm,
servants?
My mom was a single mom, so she's very busy and amazing. But I think probably my private school here in Camarillo, Cornerstone Christian School, we did a lot of service opportunities. I really think the first one I did that was really impactful was Operation Shoebox. You fill a shoebox with, toiletries, gifts for kids that'll be sent across the world. And we actually went and volunteered in their plant, like a big warehouse plant out in LA, a big
Mm,
group of us. So I think just spending the day having fun with my friends and also knowing that I gave back was just so impactful. And then ever since then, it's like, I've got an hour. Yeah, I'll go sort cans at Food Share,
mm.
or I have more time than that and I'll commit to a 4-hour shift a week at VCNC. So it's, as you said before, there's just so many ways to get involved. And so to just find, the little pieces that I can do has kept me committed to doing service work.
Yeah,
And now showing my son to do that because I think
yeah,
it just builds character and it really just rounds you out.
yeah, absolutely. No, 100%. I see our children doing things that I would have never thought of because my parents were not involved in community that way. And so watching them just kind of jump right in, both of them, they volunteer and help out. And
Mhm.
sometimes I don't even think they know that they're volunteering. They're just like,
Yeah.
mom and dad
They're
need
like, we're just
help,
having
and this
fun.
is this is what we're doing. When they were little, it was fun. As they got a little bit older and teenagers, taking them away from their friends to go, you know, be at an event and they're not getting paid to do it. But I think that they've learned that over their lifetime so far. And watching our students in our karate school, part of our black belt requirement is that they have to um, participate in a community service project. They have to create one and facilitate it. And whether
Mm,
it's, again, the time, talent, treasure, it doesn't always have to be a fundraiser. It's just
mhm.
going and volunteering for an event or
Human
doing.
connection.
Yeah, well, we need lots more of that. That's for sure. Keep them off the screens. So, in your opinion, Jacqueline, what makes Ventura County such a special place to live, work, and serve?
Yeah, I think our experience in VCLA really just solidified this for me. We met people from education, law enforcement, healthcare, housing. All of these people are committed to doing amazing things. They invest their lives in doing such amazing work to better this community. And every single person is just that I've met is just so passionate about what they're doing. And then when we go and see some of these presentations, to see that Ventura County is leading in some of these things, some of these
Hmm.
mental health awareness and law enforcement, our amazing port of Wainini. We are a leader in the nation, which I would have never have known. So I think just the people in the community and the way we show up for each other.
Hmm.
We've been, the community's been through things where we had to have resilience, and to witness how we've showed up for each other through fires and flooding and all different kinds of things that we've experienced as a community. It's beautiful to see how we lift each other up. And I think, again, it's hard when it's 75 degrees and sunny to hang out here.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I got another comment coming online. Believe it or not, I got someone watching on Twitch. This is pretty cool. And this might be a very easy, quick answer for you, but does the Ronald McDonald House help with job placement in any of the franchises or corporate partners?
We can connect you. We don't deal with employment, but I'm happy to connect you with some local managers.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I think that kind of goes back to the education of what the Ronald McDonald House actually does.
Yes.
But yeah, but like you said, many franchises, many locations involved and contributors. So if you want to reach out to me, I can send Jacquelyn a message and we can help you in any way that we possibly can. All right, we're going to wrap up here in just a couple minutes, but got a couple more questions for you. And this goes off of that last question. Nonprofit work often comes with lots of challenges, limited resources, and growing needs. How do you stay motivated and focused when facing all the obstacles that you face?
Mm, you know, I it's that survival mode, you right? We've survived and so we will survive. I think, how do I stay motivated? I think just we've had a very slow progress. I mean, we've been open for almost 4 years now, 3.5, 4 years. It's been a very slow progress. And so continuing that slow progress so that it's steady and it has a very strong foundation is really important to me. And so seeing that vision and knowing I can't jump to it right away, and breaking down those steps and processes to get there, that's my strength. That's what I'm good at. And so if I can contribute that and just create a program that is thriving and doing what it needs to be doing, yeah, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, and I think when you look at life and you look at people that are maybe on a health journey, a fitness journey, wanting to lose weight, eat better, you know, if you focus on the end result and only
Mhm,
focus on that big long goal, and you forget just to get through each and every day with those small daily habits that change,
mhm,
over time, those consistent daily habits, you get a year from now and you look back and you're like, oh wow, like I never thought that I would make it here. But
mhm,
with that daily consistency, you're going to get there. And I think when you focus on there's a quote that I'm often reminded: take care of the days and the years take care of themselves. And
mm,
so, when we just focus on one day at a time and get through it, we know we got this big goal out in front of us. I can only imagine what it's like to raise, whatever, however much money you got to raise. Like, some people got to raise 10,000, 100,000, $1 million. And it's like when you just focus on that, you're like, whoa, that's a big hill to climb. But one step at a time, you're going to get to the top. It might just
mhm.
take a little bit longer. So, you're talking about the long road. And that's what we're looking at. You can't do anything short and quick that's really worthwhile. I don't believe.
Absolutely.
What leadership lessons have you learned through your work that could benefit others looking to make a positive impact in their community?
I think collaborating and asking for help. Oftentimes we're prideful and we think we can do anything ourselves. And I really had, I know my strengths. I also know my weaknesses, and I fill in those gaps. And that affects change. It leads to strong leadership, knowing how to balance that out. So I think really, yeah, asking for help and finding your weaknesses and other or your I'm sorry, yes, your weaknesses as strengths in other people leads to a very strong, whether it be business, nonprofit, government sector, it leads to a strong career.
Well, I'm a huge John Maxwell reader, and when you talk about pride and ego, that kills leadership so often. Oh, I got this, I can do it, or nobody can do it better than me. I'm just going to take this project on, and you have to be willing to allow other people to step in and empower people and um, enlist people and edify people to allow them to lead. Because listen, I would rather be in a room full of leaders than be
Mhm.
the leader in a room full of followers.
Mhm.
And so if I could help those people become better leaders, it only
Mhm.
helps us all rise to the top. So I think that was spot on, talking about pride and ego getting in the way and knowing, hey, if I'm weak in this area, this person is
Mhm.
awesome in this area. Let's let this person do the job and let's get to the next challenge. Let's just overcome this.
Mhm.
So I think that was a very great answer. Last question, and just letting everybody know this will be the last question unless you post quickly. Looking ahead, what are your goals, projects, initiatives that you're most excited about, both for the Ronald McDonald Family Room and your continued community involvement?
I'm just excited where this community in general is going. There's so many like amazing things that people are working on. Um, it's not perfect, but I can see that there's genuine thought and care behind a lot of these initiatives that we have going on in the community. And then with Ronald McDonald, I just look forward to continuing to serving more families better. It's a revolving door. We have new families every day, every week. And so just continuing to be there steadfast is really, maybe a boring goal, but it's really the long-term goals to be that steadfast for them.
You know, Interesting that you bring up the word steadfast because I don't know if
I think
you.
that's your word,
Yeah,
isn't it?
see, I didn't
Actually.
know if you followed me on social media, but I actually committed to the word steadfast. That was and I thought at the beginning of the year, I'm like, because I chat GPT'd a little bit and did some like, self-reflection. And when I was suggested that word, I was like, steadfast. Like I wanted like growth and like explosive, like this and that. But you know what? It goes back to what we just said a minute ago. Like, you got this big hill to climb, and the only way to climb that hill is one step at a time and stay consistent and keep working, right? I'm not going to sprint that hill. I'm not going to be able to jump that hill. It's got so I think, being steadfast in your values, your morals, your daily habits, that's where you know, real, true, long-term growth takes place.
Mhm.
So I think that's great. I think that, and it was just interesting that you used that word. And I'm
I
thinking, I post about this every day. I actually log and journal. I committed to journaling 365 days with that word.
Yay.
So we'll see how that turns out at the end of the year. So far, I'm on track. But yeah, collaboration. You talked about that too. Collaboration.
Mhm.
How awesome is it now that we have this opportunity, not only within our local communities to collaborate with others, but we like have this pretty powerhouse team of people to collaborate with. I was super excited that, our team, Sandra specifically, kind of said, hey, like, let's continue this journey together and not
Mhm.
like, hey, we did this seminar together, or this certification, and then move on, which some people will do. But I think that there's a handful of us that want to continue that collaboration. And I think there's a
Mhm.
lot of a lot of good things that are going to come from that in
Yes.
individually, but also in our communities where we can help each other. And at the end of the day, like, if we can help each other reach our goals, we all win. It's
Yes.
a win-win for everybody. So anything that you want to add, Jacqueline? Anything maybe that I missed and we didn't cover today? Um,
No,
Anything else
I
you want to
I
add?
so appreciate you having me, and it's been so much fun talking to you.
Yeah, it's been a great hour, and I look forward to many more conversations and growing. And if there's anything that I can do to help, I know one of my strengths is social media. I think when we first met, right out of the gate,
Yes.
I sent you a message. I said, "Hey, I just sent 1,000 invites to like your page," and you're like, "What?" And
I
I was
know. I
like,
was
"Well,
like, cool,
like."
I'll do too.
I mean, I
That's
can do it, like,
amazing.
if it helps, because you need some
Yeah.
exposure, and it helps
Hmm.
people get educated. So I think that was really cool that we were able to do that. But
Yes,
hey,
amazing.
thanks for being on the show today. I'm going to send you the link for this so you can share it with your family and friends. And if you are a part of VCLA and you're watching this today, or if you'd like to nominate someone to be on this show, would love to have them. I think I'm booking August right now. So send me some people your way. We'd love to have them on the show and highlight them and tell their story. Please go to Master Motivation Podcast on YouTube and subscribe. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all the places. And Mark, thank you. He says thank you for the insight and leadership. I'm gonna twist your arm, Mark. I'm gonna get you on the show.
Mark needs
And
to be on the show.
he needs to be on here. See, Mark, you've been nominated. Um, but yeah, thanks again, Jacqueline. And thanks to everybody who watched and commented today. Appreciate all of you guys. We'll be back with another edition of Master Motivation Podcast next week. But for now, everybody go and have a great weekend. Do what you can to support your local community. Get involved. It's not as hard as you think, right? Just jump in and
No.
find something that you can contribute just a little bit time, talent, treasure. And I know that you'll feel an amazing impact. So once again, Jacqueline, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
I will see you very soon.
Bye. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye, guys. Take care. Have a good one.